Welcome to Alaska Weather, a production of Alaska Public Media and the National Weather Service, Alaska Region. Produced and broadcast daily from the studios of KAKM, Alaska Weather provides complete forecasts, public, marine, and aviation for all of Alaska. Alaska Weather is made possible by the following sponsors.
The National Weather Service.
Good evening, everyone, and thanks again for tuning in to this Sunday show. Up first on the advisory chart here for tonight, flood advisories continue for the Fairbanks area there, and also flood advisories here for the Susitna Valley, specifically the Yentna River, which has gotten very close to flood stage here this afternoon. That out for tonight. And the wind advisory there for the eastern Alaska Range passes, gusts over 50 miles per hour possible through tonight and then ending tomorrow morning. On the satellite imagery, here's the clouds that brought all the rain and gusty winds in across the North Gulf Coast into Prince William Sound today, as well as across the Copper River Basin and up into the Tanana Valley, with those south to southeast winds, and then this original front back up through here brought a little bit of rainfall up into that area with a lot of clouds. Still pretty nice up along the Arctic coast with some sunshine, but winds up there a lot lighter than yesterday, especially on the east side. Kind of a weak low drifting up to the northeast here. A little bit of clearing here just east of Kodiak Island, and lots of clouds course out over the Bering Sea and the Aleutians. Otherwise, down along the southeast coast, nice day there, light winds, temperatures 60s and 70s this afternoon. And also over the eastern interior, in spite of the mid and high level moisture streaming northward there, temperatures into the 70s to low 80s in a few locations again this afternoon. Lots of cooler conditions, a lot of clouds, lower flying conditions, and areas of light rain back to the west, out into the northern Bering Sea. Another system here bringing some light rain, fog, and drizzle into the Adak-Atka area. That'll be continuing to shift off to the east a little bit there. Not really a strong low at all down in that area. Got a 995 millibar low there right on the southwest coast. And the moderate to heavy amounts of rain falling today, especially up along the North Gulf Coast, southern Seward Peninsula areas. Cordova, since late last night and through the day today, picked up about 2 1/3 inches of rainfall, while Seward had about 1.5 inches, lighter, much lighter amounts over toward Yakutat, and then nothing across the southeast coast there with the sunshine down over the southern areas. That's where the temperatures were the warmest, and then more clouds kept it a little bit cooler up to the north. This first front here actually came in yesterday, breaking up, but still clouds, scattered showers through the central western interior. A little bit of band of rain shifting northward there across the Kobuk-Selawik Valley areas, now up into the western Brooks Range, and kind of more showery but pretty unsettled, and solid clouds with areas of light precipitation all the way back to the southwest coast, and some breaks in the overcast showing up there over the Pribilof Islands. Otherwise, again, light winds out over all of the Bering Sea. And for tonight, that front pushes eastward here and weakens. That'll push some rain into the southwest coast up to the north there, here in the area I painted green. Look for an increase in clouds off to the east and south. Another trough keeps it wet, but look for the rainfall amounts to diminish, and already becoming more showery here across southern Alaska. And that'll continue into this evening. Periods of light rain, North Gulf Coast, and scattered showers up into the Copper River Basin. And those winds continuing, but generally diminishing here throughout the night across all of, well, from the Alaska Range right on down to the North Gulf Coast there. Gale warnings will be coming down, and low pressure keeps it cloudy and showery out over the southwest interior. Bristol Bay, back into the southeast Bering Sea areas, basically dry there for the north slope. Could be a few remaining showers as the rest of that moisture dissipates and pushes north of the mountains there. Could bring a few showers in toward Point Lane, maybe Wainwright, but winds really light, partly mostly cloudy, maybe some patchy fog along the Arctic coastal areas. And then this system continuing to spread some moisture, mostly along and south. May or may not get any precipitation into the eastern Aleutians with that thing. Higher pressure back out to the west. Light winds, maybe some breaks, and of course with that could come some fog. And for tomorrow, that system now south of the area there, but beginning to make a turn to the northeast late in the day or tomorrow night. Otherwise, for tomorrow here, light winds across the entire state with cloudy skies, areas of rain, showers, and even some isolated thunderstorms here, possibly western Alaska Range, back up on the northwest edge of that precipitation zone and maybe over the eastern Brooks Range area, but no big widespread thunderstorm outbreak at all will occur. Otherwise, cloudy showers across most of the area, periods of light rain. Another trough moving up keeps it wet, northern Cook Inlet in toward Prince William Sound, of course the Kenai Peninsula. Chance of rain across Copper River Basin areas there, and this front slowly edging its way eastward, so a much cloudier, wetter day across the Panhandle, what you've seen the last couple of days there. Otherwise, up to the north, light winds continue on the Arctic coast. Areas of patchy fog through the Bering Sea down to St. Lawrence Island, but nice conditions out here over the Bering Sea all the way out to the western Aleutians. And on the edge of the map here you can see the warm front that's associated with the next storm, which on Tuesday will bring just about maybe gale force winds possibly here into the western Aleutians, not so much into the Bering Sea, but definitely windier and wetter conditions coming in with that storm. No change here in the east. Still the upper level trough coming inland, but right about in this position on Tuesday there, so it's going to keep the interior, much of the interior, just cloudy, mostly cloudy, occasionally wet, unsettled weather. Winds on the light side though, some of those showers could be on the heavy side over toward the Wrangell Mountains, some isolated embedded thunderstorms possible, the western Alaska Range, with some good shower activity all the way down into northeastern Bristol Bay, showers, Kilbrook Mountains, Togiak Bay, right up along this trough axis, but definitely could see some clearing out here as well. Most of the heavier precipitation over the interior, but not all that heavy. Really not tapping into any moisture from the south now, so just kind of a showery, cloudy pattern. Rain slips up across the eastern north slope to the Arctic coast during the day on Tuesday, and mostly cloudy, scattered showers for the Panhandle about sums it up. This next system here coming back up, developing a little bit here as it pushes up against this ridge off to the east, and it looks like this moisture will head right northeast and on Wednesday make landfall along the north coast of the Panhandle for more rain. And for temperatures down that way today, quite a contrast again with the cooler, cloudier conditions in the north, 50s and 60s. Down to the south, 70s, some cases lower 80s, 81 at Annette this afternoon. And quite a range here across the Copper River Basin, 50s to near 70. 70s here over the eastern interior, 79 both at Northway and Chicken this afternoon. South central Alaska, all the clouds and rain. 55 to lower 60s, 62 at Homer, 60 down at Kodiak, otherwise 59 at Palmer, and up at Talkeetna. Fairbanks 71 degrees, Tanana 66, Bettles at 61, Anatuvik up to 63. Break into some more sunshine here. Umiat actually up to 75 later this afternoon, 60s to near 70 along the Arctic coast, except right on the water there, 45 at Kaktovik and lower 50s both at Barrow and Wainwright, 50s and 60s out in the west. Aleutians, Pribilofs, and Bristol Bay all in the 50s, couple of 60s showing up, Chignik and Sand Point. For the lows tonight, pretty mild up over the northeast interior, and actually mostly 50s everywhere else here, right down to the North Gulf Coast, upper 40s, Bering Sea and the Aleutians, upper 30s on the Arctic coast, and 50s to the Panhandle. Highs for tomorrow back into the 70-75 degree range or so here over the eastern interior, kind of a swath of near 70 stuff back out to the northwest coast there, roughly around the Noatak Valley area, maybe on down to Buckland. Cooler on the Arctic coast, 60s across the Panhandle, lower 60s Bristol Bay, 50s out west. And for flying weather tomorrow morning, got some IFR here along the southeast coast and northward. Again, that moisture pushing eastward, bringing those flying conditions down. Lingering IFR back along the North Gulf Coast, right in toward Passage Canal, Whittier, and those areas. Otherwise marginal here across all of southern Alaska. IFR out in the Bering Sea. Marginal VFR along and south of the Brooks Range. But tomorrow afternoon that breaks out to VFR. Lingering marginal conditions along the western Alaska Range. Also IFR, Prince William Sound to right down to possibly Seward, and from Yakutat down along the southeast coast. And the entire panhandle becoming marginal during the afternoon to Kodiak Island, the Aleutians. Lots of IFR here over the eastern Bering Sea, right up to the coastline, through the Bering Strait, and along the eastern and central Arctic coast. Could see some areas of IFR wherever there's low clouds or fog. And then for passes, Anaktuvuk, marginal VFR. Adigan, same forecast. Lake Clark and Merrill, marginal at times, marginal for rainy. Windy, marginal VFR becoming VFR throughout the day. And Isabel, same forecast, improving conditions also from Antasta becoming VFR. Tanita, marginal VFR. Portage, another IFR day there. And Chilkoot and White, marginal VFR. And for the freezing levels, big area 8,000 feet here across the western interior. Really up to 10,000 feet over the northeast. This 12,000 foot pool here kind of sliding off to the east there on the southeast coast, and then you can see a trough right out through here with warmer conditions way out back to the west, 10 to 12,000 feet. Icing threats tomorrow, areas of here in these shaded areas, the most likely zones, but could occur anywhere in the state. Probably a little drier through here, but mostly above 8,000 feet, light rime, maybe mixed icing. Possibly moderate as well. And then the southeast coast, that moisture pushing in, warm air mass above about 11,000 feet if it happens at all. And for the winds aloft tomorrow, one upper level trough way down here, kind of a split here in the flow, but the whole pattern moving eastward. So eventually that front's going to make its way across, or at least into the southeast coast there. And with a 90-knot jet south of Kodiak Island, this upper level low really taking its time moving eastward, and be around for a couple more days. And for the 9,000 foot winds, low pressure here south of Stebbins, or Unalakleet actually, southwest flow, not all that strong, pretty light. I see 20 knots here coming south of Kodiak Island, but diminishing toward the panhandle, higher pressure out to the west. And again, higher pressure here building in advance of that next system. They'll be rolling into the western Bering on Tuesday, but for tomorrow, a trough through here. Southwest could hit 25 knots there, mostly around Cape Newenham, otherwise 15 to 20-ish around that center over the western interior. Lighter over the east side there from the North Gulf Coast, just 5 knots all the way up to the Arctic coast. So really not much wind at all to speak of. And turbulence, really nothing significant, even though the chart turned white here. So after the break, I'll be back with a look at sea surface temperatures and the marine forecasts.
People come from all over the world, and they just can't believe when they round the corner up here on a busy Wednesday or Thursday and see 10 to 13 of them in a row. You know, it's quite a sight to see. It's really the crossroads of the world. You can go from Anchorage to Frankfurt, Germany in typically 8 to 9 hours. And in Asia, you can be in Hong Kong, or you can be in Tokyo, or you can be in Seoul in 8 to 9 hours using Anchorage as an international gateway. It's the perfect spot for cargo operations to come in. The 2 aircraft arrive. They're doing a cargo transload. We have just a specific amount of time to make sure that the cargo gets on the other aircraft and we get it out of here. It's not uncommon for us to handle as many as 46 airplanes in a day, and it is one of the busiest cargo airports in the world. I think if you were to narrow it down to, you know, what is probably the biggest commodity, well, I would have to say it's probably consumer electronics, and especially the iPhones, the iPads, things of that nature that are coming out of the factories in Asia into North America to hit the retail stores. That's a big item. I've kind of grown up in aviation. I've had an uncle that had a helicopter and flying business called Kenai Air Alaska down in Kenai. He started way back in the early 50s hauling drill bits, and I was a gas boy. So I filled up Super Cubs and helicopters, and you know, kind of grew up around the business. We've basically seen it all. Cars coming from BMW, from Mercedes-Benz, and these are basically top secret. They are hush-hush. They are not even on the market. And they come in and then they're tested in different parts of Alaska for cold weather testing. We've hauled large pieces of oil industry equipment. We've seen sharks, we've seen whales, we've seen everything. But the kitchen sink. There are so many international carriers that serve Anchorage, giving you a whole different perspective on what lies just 8 or 9 hours away. And in many cases, there is a lot of cross-cultural exchange in Anchorage that allows all of us to experience other parts of the world. And I think because of that, we grow richer as a community. And it definitely has a positive impact on me, and we're in a unique advantage that we get to see this.
I had a friend that used to say, wow, Alaska's cool, man. You can walk outside your front door and die. My name's William Fulton. I usually go by Will or Willie. Fly for Seahawk Air in Kodiak, Alaska. Well, flying a 1953 de Havilland Beaver on floats. The Beaver's really the best for float plane work, the best airplane ever built, you know, for the kind of things we do. It's big enough to carry a good sized load, but it's yet small enough to handle by one person can handle it on the water, you know, in pretty much any wind. You know, but it's built similar to the cars of that era, you know, lots of metal. You think of how many cars from 1953 are on the road today? Not very many, just real well built and tough. I really don't think too many people here take it for granted. They still appreciate the beauty of the island and seeing the wildlife, seeing whales. The people that live here, a lot of them live here for that reason, you know. And then the tourists, Kodiak isn't really a tourist-based economy, it's commercial fishing, you know, so it's rely on a lot of different things. Oh, the weather here is always a challenge. You have to enjoy it. If you let it bother you, you wouldn't make it here long. But you know, when you're flying or boating, any way getting around, really, you have to be very respectful of the weather. Yeah, you know, weather dictates when you go certain places. A lot of delays, you know, a lot of delays for people that we fly. Even delays on the commercial airlines coming and going from Kodiak. So you just have to be patient. It teaches you patience living here. Something that we're not all born with, a lot of patience. I look at it as a great equalizer, you know. You could have a check for $1 million and we couldn't come pick you up, you know, and then you could be trapped. Kodiak is one of the few places in the world where you can actually still get weathered in. You know, you can get weathered in for days here, where there's no airplanes, no boats, no way out, which is pretty good, you know. No matter who you are or what you're doing, you may get stuck. What sets flying in Alaska apart is the necessity of it. You know, it's huge. Most of the places on Kodiak Island, you know, there's very little road, so you have to fly or take a boat. It's vital for mail. I've flown mail planes. It's vital for groceries to villages or people living remote. We are a lifeline for freight. I mean, we do a lot of medevac type trips when people get hurt. So you know, we're the first responder in a lot of that. You know, we see good with bad. Unfortunately, I've seen, you know, suicides, boat disasters, airplane crashes, you know, a lot of different things as a pilot. You just have to be ready. I guess that's part of it. There's a few different people I drop off where you know, in the back of your mind, you're a little worried whether they're going to be there when you come back to pick them up. So I always hope they are. It's kind of tough when you go to pick somebody up and you know, they're not there. There's not much left of them. Timothy Treadwell, the movie and the event, all that. It seems like a long time ago now, but just another. It seems like just another Alaskan tragedy. There's been a few of those when you think about the Into the Wild story and the Treadwell story, and there's other people doing similar things out there. So it still goes on. Being there when people need you, and well, that makes you stop and think that, wow, what you do is really important.
Welcome back. Today's sea ice analysis. A lot of brash ice here in close to the central and eastern coastline, farther off the coast of the west, and then the heavier stuff right in through here. And as long as the winds don't swing around to the northwest and pick up, then this stuff will stay out to sea. And for the southeast coast tomorrow, southwest winds up to 20 knots with seas 10 feet everywhere, and Clarence Strait, south 15, southeast 10, Stevens Passage, light winds for Lynn Canal. And then winds pick up a little bit here for Clarence Strait, northwest, picking up to 20 knots, south 15, Stevens Passage, no change for Lynn Canal. West-northwest, 15 on the south coast, west-southwest, only at 10 on the north coast. For Prince William Sound, variable to southeast at 10 tomorrow, south 15, increasing to 20 knots here south of the Forelands and Cook Inlet, and then southwesterlies 15 to 20 on down across Shelikof Strait, and southwest 10 to 15, Barrens and western Gulf Coast. For Tuesday, not a lot of change, southwesterlies, mostly for Cook Inlet, all the way down across Kamishak Bay and Shelikof Strait there, even the east side of Kodiak Island, southwest 15. Seas down to 5 feet from there right up to the northwest or the north Gulf Coast, and variable to south at about 10, seas 2 feet or less for Prince William Sound. And out Bristol Bay Way, southwest 20 tomorrow, seas 6 feet, 15 to 20 knot westerlies here for the Alaska Peninsula, and southwest up toward Kodiak. And then for Tuesday, lighter winds here from Sitkinak all the way over to Cape Sarachev, just 10 knots from northwest to southwest direction. Pretty light, even up here on the north side, west to southwest, 15 knots on up into Bristol Bay with seas just 4 feet. And out over the eastern Aleutians tomorrow, light variable winds 10 knots, 4 to 7 foot seas. Even light winds here for the central Aleutians, kind of from the north-northeast at 10 to 15 or even 5 to 15 knots with light winds under high pressure there out to the west side. And that kind of the calm before the storm, so to speak. Looking at small craft advisories anyway, maybe possible gale force gusts here coming in with that next system. But right now, southwest 30, 12-foot seas pretty much covers it pretty good there, all the way to about Adak. Still light here, Adak and Atka, west-southwest at 15. And actually light winds all the way across the eastern Aleutians there at about 10 to 15. And up along the southwest coast, south of Nunivak Island, westerlies at 20 there. Those will be blowing right in toward Kuskokwim Bay, 6-foot seas. Northwest 15 here across the northern Bering Sea. St. Lawrence Island, north at 15, west 15 for the Pribilofs. And then on Tuesday, again, real light winds here across most areas. Southwest 10 to 15 for the Pribilofs. West-northwest 10 to 15 there for the southwest coast. North 15 for St. Lawrence Island, becoming kind of more variable here. St. Matthew Island, but very light, still seas running 3 to 4 feet. Up along the Arctic coast, light northeast winds here down to 5 knots there over to demarcation point. And those are forecast to increase here toward the central coast at 15 with 2 to 3 foot seas there. Northeasterlies all the way down to Cape Thompson, then northerly to the south. And then for Tuesday, those pick up to about 20 knots here. Central coast north at 20, northeasterlies 20 knots, 3 to 4 feet seas there for the west side, 20 knots out of the north there. And the eastern coast, real light northerly breezes at about 10 with seas running only at 2 feet. Looking at tonight again, you can see this front pushes eastward there, And so look for the clouds to increase, rainfall chances continue to increase as well. Possible rain as far south as Port Alexander, up to the north there, maybe increasing chances of rain for Juneau after midnight. Diminishing rain here with wind this evening for the North Gulf Coast, but lingering periods of here right into Prince William Sound. A couple of troughs swinging up, keep the intermittent to numerous chances for showers going across south central Alaska. Of course, skies will be cloudy. Cloudy skies and showers scattered all across the southwest interior, right up into Norton Sound and the southern Seward Peninsula. This area of moisture could bring a few scattered showers to the western Arctic coast with some clearing behind. Areas of rain with that low center, but this part of the front here really weakening, and just some scattered showers and cloudy skies there. Back out to the west, system there crossing the central Aleutians pushes eastward, and really not much of a factor at all tomorrow. Upper level trough right through here, weak low up in near the Kobuk Valley there. Could see some isolated thunderstorms there on the northwest edge of that precipitation area. A little more sun could fire those off during the day. Same thing here around the Brooks Range. Maybe some embedded thunderstorms in all the showers and clouds here, mainly along the western Alaska Range. Periods of rain in showery south central Alaska, Copper River Basin, North Gulf Coast. Pretty dry there, westerly flow, so could be some sun there around Kodiak Island and again across the Alaska Peninsula, maybe even the eastern Aleutians. Low clouds, fog, and drizzle there, northern Bering Sea, and that front again pushing rain in across the southeast coast. That breaks out to mostly cloudy skies with scattered showers on Tuesday. Otherwise, here across the interior, look for a lot of clouds, a lot of showers. Again, possible isolated thunderstorms here with less in the way of rainfall south central Alaska. These mostly afternoon showers developing there over the Kenai Peninsula. This area of moisture will take off toward the southeast coast the next day. And there's that big storm entering the western Bering Sea. Well, that's a look at the weather for today. Thanks for joining us, and we'll be back tomorrow.
These forecasts are to be used for planning purposes only. Call 1-800-WX-BRIEF for a formal pre-flight briefing. Always file a flight plan before you go flying. The U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary urges you to leave a float plan with a friend or the harbor master before you go boating. Alaska Weather is made possible by the following sponsors.
The National Weather Service.
Alyeska Pipeline Service Company, fueling philanthropic programs and dedicated to creating educational and professional opportunities for Alaska Native people.